Hello, ladies and gentlemen. August 30th, 2022. This is it. Summer's over. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, but it's time. That means, school's already started. I've seen everybody's back to school photos online. NFL season, that's it. Preseason's over. The next game you watch is going to be for real. Thank you for those NFL fans. I'm sure they can't wait. I know I can't. So, but that also means that the fun time's over. Like, get off the beach. Like, I know there's this last little vacation coming up here. Like, that's going to be over and behind you. No more skiing, water skiing and slides and pools. Like, unless you're going, to somewhere nice or you have a pool in your backyard, the next 3 months, you better buckle down because we're going to close out the year on a good note. Let's get some housekeeping done out of the way, and then we'll get into some good conversation. So MSPinitiative.com, this and every other session is available under the sessions menu of MSPinitiative.com in podcast and video format. We've got hundreds of these going back to March of 2020. Go and check us out. We'll be talking more about some giveaways between now and the end of the year with some of our sponsors that want to do some cool things, and hook you up some cool prizes between now and the end of the year. So stay tuned on that. Last big two things. Actually, it's multiple things. There's 3 MSP community block parties. Well, I guess 2 block parties and 1 boat party. So there's one in Washington, D.C. coming up in a couple weeks. So if you're going to be, if you're in Mid-Atlantic area or you happen to be going to DattoCon, join us at the Nationals ballpark. That's right. We decided to just stop renting out bars and start renting out stadiums. So if you're in the area, we've got plenty of space. And there's plenty of time to get in there, raise your hand, show up. If you're an MSP, hit MSPinitiative.com or go to DattoCon's website, look at the agenda. You'll see how you can register for the MSP Community Block Party. That's number 1. Number 2, our friends at Taylor Business Group are doing their annual event called the Taylor Business Group Big Conference. So you can search Big Taylor Business Group, not Taylor Swift, if I can spell properly. And you will see they're doing a pretty cool conference at the Diplomat. So any of you longtime Autotask people, this was the last place that they did Autotask Community Live. It's right on the water. We'll be doing a MSP Community Boat Party. Can't wait to resurrect the boat from 2017 if you were on it. And lastly, if you're going to be in Orlando, and for what, at the end of the year, November, we're bringing to you a private concert by, that's right, the All-American Rejects. How about them apples? So obviously we'll have plenty of other entertainment, and you can go wild, right? It's free to every MSP, all of these events. But we're bringing the All-American Rejects into Orlando on International Drive, Icon Park, November 9th. You get to see him for free, in person, private concert. I think that's pretty cool. Maybe the coolest thing we've ever done. Lastly, we have our last 3 Channel Strong tours, right? So if you're in, now let me just scroll down here to the last dates. Here we go. Denver, Tulsa, Topeka, St. Louis, end of September. And then we have end of kind of mid to late October, Vegas, Phoenix, Temecula, Irvine, California, and then right at the tail end of November, first couple of days of December, and then you can go into Christmas mode because that's what everybody wants to do at that time of year. Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Orlando, Atlanta. Plenty of stuff going on, guys, here, right? I mean, it's all free for the MSP. So come out, grab a beer, grab a sandwich, watch a free private concert, maybe hit some baseballs out at Nationals Park. Plenty of good stuff going on. And I'm super excited for it because we've been working on this stuff literally for months. What do you think about that, Matt Scully?
Dude, I can't get over that Denver to Tulsa. That's going to be a long. Are you going to be on that bus on that trip?
No, I won't. But who could be? Who is going to be on that bus?
Who's that?
Unless something crazy happens, Kenny P's going to be on the bus.
Oh, he is. Oh, good for the tour. Yeah.
So if you need somebody to give you entertainment, that's the guy.
I mean, that's going to be a long trip, but you know what? Beautiful. Hey, get a chance to see a beautiful part of the country. And I'll tell you, when the last company I worked for, we would do road shows, and believe it or not, the most highly attended road show was Tulsa.
Wow. Who would have known?
And let me follow up with that. The least attended road show was about 2 hours up the road, which was Oklahoma City.
Wow, who would have known that either?
Yeah, yep. Tulsa's a great place to hold a road show. So I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah, hey, listen, America on the ground looks a lot different than when you're flying over, right?
America on the ground looks a lot different. I completely agree. I completely agree.
Look at this. Look at this. I didn't even get too far into the show, and Darren's already putting his hand up. What's
Tulsa,
up, Darren?
Tulsa is fantastic. I have to
Yes.
tell you, Tulsa is a hidden gem of this country. It is amazing. So, I mean,
Oh my
I may
gosh.
even have to fly out to Tulsa just to go to this.
I would do that. I would absolutely do that. That is a great venue. Absolutely. There's a taco place. I'll have to talk to Redding. Something tacos. They were unbelievable.
Some of the best barbecue I've ever
You would
had.
think Tulsa, Oklahoma is probably not known for their tacos, but you may
I
have
will
found a
I'll
hidden
find
gem,
out.
huh?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Something. They were like the best tacos I've ever had in my life.
Wow. Who would have
Yeah.
thought?
So
Well,
I'll
you know
find out.
what? I think we might just see Matt Scully show up on, when was this? Wednesday, September 28th,
Just for the tacos.
just for the tacos.
Some of the best barbecue I've ever had was in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay. And that's a bold statement because Darren, you like to eat probably more than I do. I don't know if that's possible.
I had Chick-fil-A for dinner, and it's absolutely delicious. Yes.
I bet you I have Chick-fil-A waiting for me for lunch upstairs, but I digress.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of these, like what we get in New York, okay, is we get those old school barbecue recipes mixed with these guys from these culinary schools, right? So they make like barbecue better, right? And that's where you get like places like the Mighty Q's, Hill Country. Matter of fact, a small note about Hill Country: it's on 26th and 26th and 6th Avenue, and after the SNL, after they do a show, the entire cast rents out Hill Country. That's how good that barbecue is.
Wow.
So I think it's it's a combination. I mean, everyone talked about KC. I think was it Arthur Jackson's? Was that his name? I thought that was one of the best barbecues.
All I know is Andy Reid. He coached in Philadelphia for 14 years. He eats a hell of a lot of barbecue over there in Kansas City. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So
there was one something Oklahoma Joe's, which coach took us to after before an ASCII event. But there was that place I think it was called Arthur Bryant's. Arthur Bryant's was the name of it, and that was, to me, that was the best. And Redding just texted me. The place is called Torchy Tacos. Torchy
Tacos. Okay.
Yes, in Tulsa. So those who are going, please do enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm gonna have to put that on the stop off list for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many good taco places are in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's got to be the best. That's got to be maybe the best and only one. I mean, minus like Taco Bell or something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So Matt, since we talked to you last, you flipped to a new venue, if you would, a new place for you. Let's hear about it a little bit.
I think it's kind of like a new place for the States as well, right? So went to a company called Redstor. Now, Redstor is kind of like David Hasselhoff, right? If you look at us in Europe and South Africa, we are the highest rated backup software. Okay, we are very well established in Europe. And we were making a play to come to the States. That was actually something that was going to happen in 2020. We all know what happened then. So we made in third and fourth quarter of last year, we established a presence. Currently have 2 offices, one in Tampa, one in Connecticut, and that is growing. So it's a great company. It's a backup and data protection company. One of the things that we do is we leverage AI in our backups, which makes a huge difference. So if you look at some of the more recent breaches, we were one of the few companies that said, hey, that could not have happened to. Great company, awesome partner program, which we could talk a little bit about later on. But I probably shouldn't talk about that later on because something's going to be being released beginning of the fourth quarter. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here. As I said, the people are great. Everyone's fantastic. We saw some familiar faces that have gotten hired with us in the past couple of months. And George, I think even before I announced it to anybody, you gave me a call and you told me the company that I was going to. And I was saying to myself, I didn't tell anybody about this company, but you yeah,
I'm plugged in.
Like
information just makes its way to my desk. I don't know, like sometimes by smoke signals, and sometimes by phone call, sometimes by certified letter, but it gets here somehow. Forget the electronic ways, right? But Yeah, no, I found out you were headed over with your old friend, who's
Hanauer.
now, yeah, running running the sales effort over there, which is fantastic. And listen, there's a lot of guys out there who have pretty good tech, right? And not all of it comes from North America. All right. I know a lot of it does, but there's some smart people in other countries too.
Yeah.
And Redstor seems to be one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to ask your question on this
Sure.
one. It seems, as somebody that I sort of call you the John Nash of the channel. In other words, a guy that just sort of just takes a bunch of things, tapes it up against the wall, and is able to make different types of connections to it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that Sherlock Holmesian? I mean, that it could be. I don't know if it's that. I don't know. It's like things just like kind of come to me, and I put them together, and I'm like, wait a minute.
MacGyver. He's the MacGyver. Come on.
MacGyver. Okay, all right.
I like MacGyver.
We'll go with MacGyver.
Yeah.
But it's where we are really, really pride ourselves in is that next evolution of backup. And you're like, did we get stagnant? And again, please, I'm not speaking about one specific company, at all. I'm just saying in general, did we get stagnant in backup? Was it, did we on our billing, on our methodology, on our technology, whatever the case may be? And you could make a case when you look back at that and say, yeah, kind of we've done it. And I'm talking about backup into the States. Now, when I see this new evolution of backup, I say, wow, this is a pretty cool, innovative thing. And that's where my job comes in. I can't wait to sit there and tell you about it.
It's interesting, man. I mean, like you would think, people might say, hey, backup's been around forever, right? I still remember tape drives and external disks.
Sure.
And I think cloud has been such like a focal point now. People are like, like backup in the cloud seems different than backup when you're, having boxes in the closet, right? But as I just found out from our friends over at Nord, who were on just a few weeks back, the CEO of Amazon Web Services, that's right, they have their own CEO because like pretty much holds the entire Amazon company up. Trivia question. If you took Amazon Web Services away from Amazon, the parent company, is Amazon profitable or no? No, not even close. Okay. Right. So you can go look at the Google and you can, fact check me. So the CEO of Amazon Web Services came out and said 5% or less of all IT spending globally right now is in the cloud. That means 95% of IT spending is not in the cloud. Yeah. That means you're either self-hosting or it's on-prem or it's private colo or some version of that, and only 5%. You're like, how is that possible, right? These companies are making billions and billions, billions. Mm-hmm. It's just that much.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So while we kind of forgot, right? Hey, like backup, it's done, it just runs. Mm-hmm. That's not actually true. It's changing because the way people are, deploying their architecture infrastructure is changing, and integrations, right? I mean, that continues to drive the conversation because how many technologies is everybody deploying to like have a totally running environment? It's like 40. Yeah. So, and no offense, as we've also learned, you don't have to, again, you can fact check me, go online, Google all the outages, right? Sometimes the cloud is not perfect. Sometimes those clouds go down. Sometimes those clouds lose information or get attacked. And you still need to back up your information, even if it's a SaaS product, even if it's a cloud product.
Yep.
Where's the backup? You're like, oh, well, they back it up for me. That's not good enough in a lot of cases. And so you still need to have an answer. So I think that even though the methodology may be a little bit more distributed, still, like I just mind-boggling 5%. I heard that number and I almost fell out of my chair. So backup is definitely required. I know that there's a lot of people who have decided to, remake it their own. I argue, and again, every MSP is going to decide what's best for them, and that's always going to be the case. That one thing that you don't want to take on by yourself, in my opinion, because it's your fail-safe, it's your safety net, right? Yeah. If for some reason you decide to put some servers in a data center and just like buy some licensing and run it on your own, the day when you need it and it's not there, or if it wasn't working, or if it broke down, or if it got, hit.
Quickest way to lose a client. Or a lawsuit.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I highly, I mean, I know a lot of guys do it.
Because it's the cheapest way to go.
I understand, but cheap isn't good when there's a problem.
Cheap is not good. Yeah, no. So we have we have the geo redundancy, the 2 clouds, and then also if you do have a box set, you can also replicate to the box as well. So that gives you that 3 there. But going back to that evolution, if I can, and I'm not trying to sound like a commercial here because I actually enjoy my conversations with George Bardisi. But when we're talking about the evolution of like billing, we only charge for what you're backing up. Okay, so you don't have to buy that initial box and carry that nut that comes along with that box. So if you buy a 10 terabyte box and it's $800, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever backup companies are charging now, that's no longer the case, regardless of what you have in there. So you don't have to carry that number. And the other thing is that we don't have any commits. I used to say contracts, but then it made it sound like, oh, there's no contract. Well, no, there's not a commitment. So you could every 30 days, you can renew, which is a big deal, especially in these times, because you don't know, God forbid, customer can't pay for, they're on the lower part of that K curve, whatever the case may be, you are protected, So again, it's just sort of, when my first day it was July 4th, ironically enough, and because it's a UK based company, they don't believe in the 4th as much as we do.
Well, hold on. It is America's birthday.
It is America's
They're
birthday.
part of the story, no matter what they say.
Yes,
right?
they are. Yes, they are. But yeah, I mean, I got the product overview and I was like, wow, dude. And then I got the billing overview and then I was just like, wow. So exciting times, man. It's exciting times for us. And so we're excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that you are you're still in the sandbox, right? So
I'm in the sandbox.
I remind people all the time, it is a small sandbox and there's not unlimited jobs for all. So it's good to be in a position where you can continue being out on the road, being in the community, right? I mean, it's it's cool. It's a cool time to be in the technology business, even though the outer world on the real world, if you would, it's a little bit bumpy out there right now, and I think it gets bumpier. I don't know. I mentioned in the last episode, Matt, but I mean, there's several articles that have come out, and just I kind of concur just in my day-to-day conversations with people, but people in the decision-making seat, the business owner seat, the check signer seat, like they're like going to put a hiring freeze, or they're going to like actually lay people off or slow down hiring, like in the next 12, like between now and 12 months from now, like that's the outlook at the moment. So that means that as a technology provider, 2 things, right? One, some of your existing customers can shrink. That's going to happen. But 2, you might be able to pick up a good chunk of new business because the internal IT department's on the chopping block, like 2 or 3 other places, right? Marketing and a couple other departments when the big guys start to shrink, and they still need the tech, right? It doesn't just run itself, by the way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good time to be in a good position to capture some of that.
I don't want to make this sound like a commercial here, but for my previous employer, but I think a lot of people should thank Austin McCord for that. I think Austin was a very MSP focused company, and I just remember I was on we were watching something that was like MSNBC, whatever the case, when they were talking about cybersecurity, and they were asking Austin a question about what can you do if you get hit from a cybercrime, and you expected him to pop in there and say make sure you have a right backup, and it was just going to be one of those things where he was going to be able to put his company's solution right in the forefront, right on MSNBC or whatever it was. And what he said was really, really interesting, and I could actually find the clip there. He said one should engage with an MSP, a managed service provider. And back then it wasn't a household name. I don't even know do you think it's a household name right now?
I still don't. And I still think like IT provider, outsourced IT, the IT guy, the IT company, but the word MSP, I mean, people have understand what it is, but that's still not, I think the first thing they Google.
Yeah. And he just said, engage with an MSP. They've got, I'll do the quote. They got the toolkit and the skill set to get you to that and to protect you. That's what companies need to do. And that was, yeah, that was a great quote. You know, here we were waiting for this big, huge rah moment, and it was like, yeah, actually, he gave the right answer. You know, so yeah, the reason I bring that up is just that, you know, I do wonder, as now we're getting back to meetings, industry meetings, Society of Human Resources, all these different things. Are they saying, wait, you don't necessarily have to have an internal IT person. You can outsource your IT and get a, you know, in some cases, a better experience, definitely a much more cost efficient. I don't know if those conversations are happening, or as we've become so reliant on technology that they're still have the IT director, but what they're doing is they're vetting what type of subcontractors or vendors that you're going to be using. So.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I had Jimmy from QuickPass on just a little while
He's
ago.
awesome, isn't he?
He's great.
Can I swear here?
Guy.
Am I
allowed
to?
Guy. Don't
Am I allowed
forget
to
that.
swear? Am I allowed to swear on this, please?
I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's online.
Yes. So he was in his previous employer. You know, sometimes they would get a like anybody, a bad Reddit review, and he was known as Unfuck It Jimmy. So, you know, so he would actually introduce himself. It's Unfuck It Jimmy here. What can I help you with? You know, but I will tell you, out of you know, a lot of people in this channel, and a lot of people I appreciate, and a lot of people I learn from, I would say that he's up there. I love his branding. I love how he brands himself. It's not obnoxious. He's not throwing his product down your throat. He has a unique way of being engaging on LinkedIn. Usually, if you write more than 2 sentences on LinkedIn, you lost me, right? And he writes novels. So and I read every word of it. So yeah, he's a great dude. We're actually doing a webinar with him. Actually, it's called a briefing, I think, on the 5th of October.
Nice.
We're bringing. You ever hear of a guy, Scott Augenbaum? You've probably seen him a lot lately. I have. He's a former head director of cybersecurity with the FBI. He's a great subject matter expert. So we're going to have him on there. He's going to be doing 45 minutes. And then we're just going to speak after. But yeah, Scott's great. Jimmy's on there. Gassman we're working with, and Tom Watson from Titan. So we're excited.
I believe I will be seeing Tom Watson and Jimmy this evening for a cheesesteak, because you know they're in town. They're in my backyard. And, you know, I can't help but make sure people get the right one, because, you know, if they get the wrong one, they think, oh, well, these are all like this, and I didn't like this one. And then all of a sudden, bad rap. And we don't want that.
Yeah. D'Alessandro's. Have you had that one?
Great. That's great. It's a little bit off the beaten path, because it's not quite, it's kind of north of the city a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely up there. You know what I mean? Yeah,
so I took Ronan there in 2021 to find the best one. I will say that I thought that Tony Luke's was number 2, but where the best one that I was in the Reading terminal market, and the only reason I'm going to say that was the best was because of the fact that they had a butcher right there. They had a place where you can get bread, the cheese, you can get all the good ingredients. It wasn't is it a commodity? Is that a bad way? You're just getting a bunch of rolls and a bunch of meat and everything. So I thought that was the most flavorful one, but I will tell you that I thought Tony Luke's was the best experience.
Well, that is where we're headed tonight.
The people park in the middle of the street. They park in the middle of the street. That's the best way.
That's the best way. But then if you watch some of the television that, you know, the other half here watches, you're watching Parking Wars, and then my blood starts to boil. Yeah, they just give tickets to people just because they, you know, look different. I don't know. I'll tell you a quick story, and then we'll get on back to the tech talk.
No, I like what we're talking about.
It was Christmas time. Christmas. And I was walking down the street in Philly. I forget what. I had a meeting. I was in Old City, Philly. I'm walking down, and I see this, you know, PPA, Philadelphia Parking Authority person, just waiting at this car for the meters. I had 2 minutes left on it. And they're we're going to get this guy. And this Santa Claus, you know, the Salvation Army Santa Claus.
Yeah, of course.
Right. The nicest thing I've ever seen, you know, in Philly, and I know that's probably bad to say, but he literally, you know, takes a quarter out of his pocket underneath the Santa Claus costume, and he puts a quarter in to extend the time, and the lady still give the guy a ticket.
Oh,
still time on the meter, and they gave the guy the ticket. And I'm like, wait a minute. They're like, well, you're not the owner of the car. It's does it matter?
Oh my gosh.
There's time on the meter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what a bah humbug story.
Yeah, just gotta tell you about parking in the middle of the street in Philly. Like once you
Yep.
get to a certain place, like they just park anyway. They don't
Yeah,
care.
yep.
Just make sure your car doesn't get hit, right?
Exactly.
But anyway, zooming out, right? There's just there's a lot of kind of uncertainty a little bit in IT services land, right? Kind of
Mhm.
moving forward. One of them is Microsoft, right? They're the big man on the block. We've heard it.
Oh,
We've
look
heard
at
it.
this. Bill Gates heard you call. Bill
Yep,
Gates is on
killing
top
that.
of that.
Yep, killing that. So one of them is Microsoft. So I saw an article for anyone that was at Exchange in Denver. Nick Hetty from PAX 8 comes out and says he thinks in August there's going to be Microsoft partner program changes. So all of a sudden, after they announced NCE and announced the new partner program, and all of the upheaval came out from after that. Apparently now they're finally making some changes. People have been heard, and we don't know what that means, but apparently in October sometime there's going to be some sort of change. It was very vague, but it's there. And then I saw another article come out today for anyone that's not paying attention, saying that Microsoft is going to make licensing changes to quell a European controversy, which basically is like eliminating the need for another license to virtualize Windows 10 and 11 on customer servers and outsourcers, right, who aren't Azure, right? Because apparently in Azure, you just get it included, but if you're hosting outside of Azure, you got to pay for an additional license. Well, apparently they changed their mind for anyone that's outside of Azure. So I guess that's good, right? It kind of gives you another option other than Microsoft's own cloud. And then there's this NCE relief, right? So again, Microsoft kind of indefinitely paused NCE for anyone that hadn't changed after the deadline, but then any new accounts had to go on NCE. You're under these crazy terms. We were just talking about how, if you make it hard to buy and you put all the risk on the MSP, that's not exactly the way forward for a lot of people. So I don't know. Something looks like it's coming. I don't know, in October. So just pay attention. I guess we'll talk about it here whenever it comes out, but I just saw like there's two pieces of information came out kind of close to each other. So some current news out there for everybody in Microsoft land, which let's face it, it's practically everyone.
If I had it in front of me, I have an article that I read about Microsoft out there leveraging solution providers that enhance their tools, and they're making them part of that community. I mean, unfortunately, there's an article I could find it, and it would take me a little bit to find, but they actually singled out 9 different vendors, solution providers that, I think 7 of them I've even heard of, but they're working together with them, and they're doing these workshops with them. So it's almost kind of like they're, I think you said it in the beginning, but I think you said it so quick that you didn't even realize you said it. That you said that they heard you, right? They heard you, and they don't want to necessarily be the Goliath. They want to be good people into the community, and
I don't know. Darren always comes and says Microsoft's been slowly chipping away at the MSP this whole time, and it's just a matter of time before they just eliminate them. What do you still have that opinion, Darren?
Not eliminate, but they're always going to want a bigger piece of the pie. I mean, 365 is a great example. I mean, where's hosted Exchange? I mean, in terms of what that did for the marketplace and allowing others to kind of differentiate and compete. And it's like, okay, well, that game is over. And, it won't take a lot when the growth trend starts to slow, which inevitably it will, with everybody is on 365 already. What's the next thing that they're going to do? Because they're not going to 366. I mean, it's like,
I think they're going to 364.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, it's like, we're not changing email environments anymore. So at some point in the future, there will inevitably be a need for them to further monetize the base that they have, because right now growth is, largely responsible for their continued dominance here.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Microsoft CEO at their hopefully last virtual version of their conference came out and said, "Hey, we crushed it. we broke every expectation. We beat every number, every avenue, every category. Like we beat expectations. So they're making money everywhere. I don't know if they're losing money, but I mean, they're printing it. That's what I feel like. They are.
Yeah.
They did announce layoffs though. So Microsoft's not, completely immune to the economy, right? I mean, let's see what Matt Scully sent over here. Let me see if I can fire up this page.
The hackathon.
Microsoft hackathon with security partners create new managed services. Oh, okay. Well, it is. I've heard of these guys. I've heard these guys just got acquired, right? I think Google. I mean, I don't know if I heard of the other three, but that's interesting.
Yeah. So,
Now,
who knows if there's a license or something that has to be a part of that, but yeah.
Microsoft security experts. Let's see what this says.
Another certification you got to pay for.
Oh well. the new program is you got to certify everything now. You can't just be a gold or a silver, right? So.
But what I think what we're all saying here is that MSPs need to find ways to continue to make themselves stand out, whether it's implementation, whether I always use the excuse or always use the thing that my mom has an Alexa, but she doesn't know how to use it fully. Right? Like she thinks she could just play the Beatles when she wants. And I'm like, yeah, you got recipes, you got timers, you got everything you need here, alarm clocks. And the way that Microsoft is becoming more and more customer friendly, you still need MSPs to go and maximize its efficiencies.
Well, as I said, our friend Jimmy says that the answer to small, medium business security is MSPs.
Yeah.
We debated that. I think we fell somewhere in the middle there, but I'm sure there's not one road that leads to Rome, but security is not a small thing. I mean, it has to be part of the mix. I don't know if anyone saw this, just switching directions really quickly. So T-Mobile said that they did a deal with Elon Musk and Skylink, whatever they call it, to I guess in between coverage gaps in the 4G 5G network, their phones will be able to piggyback off of Starlink. That's what I was gonna say. So so I thought that was interesting, right? Because we're like, oh, this is cool. Basically flipping the script here and switching it up. T-Mobile claims they're the best 5G network currently in the United States. I know they always kind of fight each other, but for that positioning, but effectively this kind of gives you a better service coverage for obviously phone calls and SMS. I don't know about data. And then Apple kind of just came back, was it yesterday, and said, hey, we may add this ability to our iPhones. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought that was rather interesting that those two announcements came, within a few days of each other. So I guess, the Android and Samsung guys got there first. But that was kind of cool for anyone that's a T-Mobile subscriber. I'm sure, I don't know where that takes the other, it's kind of like the airlines. Once one guy does it, the other guy does it. So I'm sure Elon's in everybody's ear, as he usually does. And then another funny article, since I had it up on my screen, I guess no surprise here, but Dell, like McDonald's and a bunch of other people, have ceased operations in Russia. I'm sure we know why. I think I read an article. I don't know if Darren sent it to me, but I think they were running out of storage in Russia at one point, right? Like they were running out of like cloud storage and server space because like all these companies started pulling out. So, of course that website's talking to me. But anyway. So it's really interesting to see how like little bubbles of things happen. I wonder if Alibaba goes into Russia and says, yeah, you need some cloud storage space. We'll give you some servers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be interesting. And then the other big thing that's coming in literally, I think right before DataCon is the Apple iPhone 14 launch. I know I already got my Apple email because I'm an iPhone guy. So we'll find out what the iPhone 14 lineup officially is, although it's leaking all over the place as they always do.
One of the great, I just watched because I'm using my new Fold 4, and you know, one of the reviewers of it's like, wow, it's, you know, it's so amazing how Apple's conditioned everybody to basically buy the same phone year after year. And they have done a good job of that because essentially, you know, from iPhone 10 to now, yeah, it's been
Yeah.
more of the same.
Well,
Well,
but I mean, yeah, technology sucks, right? I mean, after 3 years, it just breaks down. So you are essentially getting the same.
So the point here was that the Fold, if you've ever actually used or held the new, particularly the
Yeah.
new one, it's so much better and just totally amazing that it's like most Apple people couldn't even handle it. But I can't handle this thing. This is way too much technology for me.
Sure.
Anyway.
wow, bold statement, Con. And then the last one that's kind of in that category. So T-Mobile adds an Apple TV Plus subscription as a permanent free perk to the upper unlimited wireless plan. I thought, oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting. But it's
I'm
not unprecedented.
No, I'm an Apple TV Plus guy. I like
The morning show.
Half dozen shows on Apple TV Plus are really solid.
Yeah, the morning show. Everyone
Morning
loves Ted
show's
Lasso.
good. For All
love the morning show.
Mankind, that's pretty good. So I thought that was kind of interesting that Apple. I know people have done it with Netflix and Hulu. By the
Yeah,
way, I never
ESPN,
Well,
and
yeah, I've never subscribed to Hulu. I never did Peacock, which is the Comcast one.
yeah.
Although I'm behind, I guess I gotta go watch the new Saved by the Bell and the new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or whatever. But
You got to see the mother on Hulu is the Lakers dynasty one.
oh yeah, I
dude,
saw
that's
the preview for
good.
that.
That
looks
is good. Yeah, that is really good.
So
Much better than the HBO Max one.
well, I mean, HBO Max is getting shut down, and they're creating a new app between Discovery and HBO, and then they laid everybody off at HBO Max. So we'll see.
Yep.
For a guy that gets stuck watching some of the shows on Discovery, because you know the other half likes her shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all comes together. You know, Darren, I talked to a guy that I recommended Carbon Systems to at one of the Channel Strong stops in Philly, and the dude's raving about them. And I was like, oh, there we go. We got another fan.
Yeah, I'm waiting for, I got a quote out on their top end, high end 16-inch laptop with dedicated video and, you know, a real MacBook Pro competitor, actually, the higher end one. We'll see if I can get it sold, you know.
Okay.
Whatever, we're creatures of habit, because I mean, my last job, I only had a MacBook Pro. Okay, that's all. So, you know, my first day, you know, I was greeted with a 32 inch, I don't even know what this is, screen, back to the OG mouse and keyboard. And I got to tell you, I work so much more efficiently being in a desktop environment, right? As opposed to, you know, like when I'm working just on a laptop, I just, after 2 years, I never really got it down, like where I was quick on it.
Apple is so great at brainwashing. It's like, all you need is a MacBook Air, you know, a 13-inch MacBook Air. You could be productive. Like, no, you can't. Well, I know George. George works on a Surface too. I really can't say.
Hey, listen. The Surface is my secondary device.
Okay,
I have a desktop with 6 screens in front of me.
But does this go lead to a bigger conversation that the younger generation who grew up typing? I mean, I was born in 75, right? So 75, I didn't type on a computer till I was a senior in high school. And that was used more for just typing reports. It was only like sort of like a Word. There was no email or anything like that. So are today's products that are coming out much more user-friendly to the consumer, to the millennials, because they have that leg up? Like, in other words, ask me to set up a what is it called? What's the big game system?
PlayStation, Xbox.
Xbox. Ask me to set up an Xbox in 1984. There was no possible way, right? Meaning, in the sense that my son, who's 10 years old, we got him an Xbox and he's able to set the whole thing up, right? You know, Nintendo was easy, you know? So I'm saying, are products that are out there today appealing more towards those who are much more you know, versed in and working with computers and technology?
I think this is a little bit of the Apple effect, right? I don't think anybody would disagree that taking something very complex and making it easy enough that somebody can just start using it and figuring it out, right? I think that's the magic, right? Behind, and there's a whole, kind of, art to UI UX, right? And that's like a whole path now that you can like, go to school for and learn about how to simplify the user experience.
Sure.
I think it's something that we could all take a page, even just in kind of MSP IT services land, right? Like, there's so many channel, like, we're so, there's email and there's text messaging and what chat, all this, whatever. But there's so many channels to communicate with people, and there's all these tools that came out to kind of consolidate this as much as possible. But like your customer kind of like you almost need to deliver service. Like we're so busy standardizing to one way for all. You almost need to customize your service to fit the experience that your customers willing to pay, right?
Yeah. I mean, the people that learn on YouTube, you can ask for one specific direction, and you're going to get 4 or 5 ways to on YouTube. And I wouldn't even say I wouldn't even say it was the Apple effect. I would say it was the Napster effect, right?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's when we all became, that graduated to a different degree of technology, is learning how to use Napster.
Wow.
What would you say about that?
Until streaming came out, but I still remember, I still remember when people got the $4,000 lawsuit, right? Because they got caught sharing music, and then they like tried to create the enforcement arm of the record industry to go out and find people, right?
Yeah, and then you know what? What's his name's response to that? It was in the movie Social Media, or the whatever it was called, the Social Network. He goes, "When's the last time you've been to a Sam Goody?"
It's true. It's true. It's true. I mean, I'm sure people still like. I still keep the dual DVD VHS combo unit, right? Just in case I got stuff. So you never know. And when was the last time you bought a car with an MP3? Like you used to be able to like buy it with just an MP3, put the disc in, right? And then it's not even just a CD. But now, I mean, and Darren has a hybrid, but Alec just got a Tesla. But like the car's a computer. And somebody was telling me a story about how this guy was in a parking lot and there was too much cloud cover and he couldn't get his Tesla to start because he didn't have a signal or something.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I don't know why that would be a problem, but like he couldn't start his car because he didn't have a cell phone signal. And I'm like,
that is strange.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
Then what did he use, a hotspot?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but like, I mean, I haven't even driven a Tesla yet, but I think you can get a key card or you can make your cell phone the key, right? And I guess your cell phone must have to have connectivity in order for it to work. You would think like a hotel room key on Hilton, you could just unlock the door and make it work, but I digress. I'm not ready for the electric car. I don't know about you.
Not yet. But I don't drive,
That's true.
So,
I do. I drive a lot.
I know you do.
A lot. But even when I'm not on buses, I drive a lot.
I mean, I worked 22 years in New York City. You did not need to drive. You just take the train in and train out, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that city, maybe what 2 or 3 cities in the United States have the level of transit like that to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like, gonna be honest with you, here in Philly, I mean, you got to kind of work at it in order to use mass transit, right? Like it doesn't exactly go everywhere you need it to go.
Yeah, but that's if you're self-driving. Like in other words, I got off the train station. I took an Uber to the Phillies stadium. What was it? $18. Don't have to worry about parking. Uber was literally right there. I mean, like in other words, I'm not driving there. I don't need to have a car.
But the suburbs, man, there's a lot of suburbs out there.
Yeah, it's true.
And as I was telling my buddy Jimmy, who was on just a few weeks ago, with this big controversy with moving a stadium into a downtown area, right? Like next to City Hall, and then mass transit shuts down at 11 o'clock. You can't even get home.
Yeah, we have the same thing with Madison Square Garden. Tonight, I think I'm going to a concert at Madison Square Garden, and if it goes past like 11:40, whatever, then you are on the hourly. Like you have to take the 1:30 train or the 2:30 train, and then it shuts down after that. Next one is 5:40 train that gets you in at 7:30 in the morning. So
yeah. So see, even you still have an option after 11 o'clock. There's no option.
Yeah, exactly.
I digress. So we heard that a bunch of people are going to see us at some of these conferences coming up. I know Darren's going to see us in DC, right, Darren?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
You booked your room?
I've been debating between two options. It's on my screen. It's on one of my screens, because I got a lot of screens here. So it's in a window. I'm close to pulling the trigger.
Okay, good. Well,
Yeah.
me and Matt will be there. And Brent, we're gonna see you out in Temecula again.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's good. I'm excited.
Temecula, what's that?
Yeah, I mean that's on the Channel Strong tour when we go into the Southwest.
What is that on the fourth quarter?
Yeah, no.
I didn't know
fourth quarter.
Temecula was a stop. Okay.
Hold on, I'll give you the exact date of Temecula. Look at that. Darren's like, oh, there's
No,
Temecula.
Temecula. It's a fun drive. It's a decent drive. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's
I thought you were
October.
coming to Tulsa too. No, Temecula is October 19th.
October 19th. Let's see. All right.
Yeah.
Temecula is outside of San Diego, right?
Yeah, it's like in between San Diego.
Yeah.
And,
45 minutes north of San Diego,
Okay.
of downtown San Diego. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
think they
a lot,
have a
Great wine.
vineyard.
it's a lot closer to Orange County than it is to San Diego.
although Sade says it's not that close to Orange County.
And something too that you ought to know about is if you go into Temecula, they've got an old section of the town where they've still got wooden sidewalks and everything. So it's kind of cool if you go through the end of that particular area. It's very picturesque.
Yeah, I heard there's a vineyard there too.
Oh
Lots
yeah,
of vineyards.
there's all kinds of wineries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in fact, they've got a balloon and wine festival that they hold there on every year.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. I used to live in San Diego.
You used to live a whole bunch of places.
Yeah, Minnesota, San Diego, New York City, Connecticut, but yeah,
Okay.
Come by anytime, Matt. Come on through. We'll show you. We'll show you what you're missing now.
I appreciate it. Now, let me tell you, my favorite city, Milwaukee.
I love Milwaukee too. Milwaukee's fantastic.
Milwaukee is a great
Great
city.
city.
That's
Great
because
city.
you went. That's because you were hanging out in Milwaukee with the mayor, basically.
No. I was hanging out with the president. I wasn't hanging out. I was not hanging out with the mayor. I was hanging out with the president. Big
Okay.
difference. No,
All right.
Milwaukee is a social utopia. It is. It's just
A
everyone.
social utopia.
Yep.
Whoa, that's a
I'm
good
telling you, every single person on this Brady Street is invited. It is such a awesome experience. The food is like the food you haven't had before. The camaraderie, everybody knows each other. I remember being on that street, meeting new people for the first time, and said, "Wow, this is where I could be. These are my people." So I really, really enjoyed Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, but he didn't go to Milwaukee when it was cold.
No, but I did live in Minnesota when it was cold, so I do get it. But there's also something to be said about that because, like Minnesota, those cities, they know how to handle. They know what to do when it's cold out. It's not like they are just in their houses or in their apartments. There's different things, activities for them to do. There's skywalks and stuff like that, so they're able to sort of forge around.
I mean, when it's cold 9 months out of the year, they better be close.
Yeah. No, yeah.
All I can say is it was not. I know they did it because I went, but to have a Super Bowl in Minnesota,
Yeah.
nope, I don't recommend it.
But that was inside though.
You still had to get there.
Yeah, because across the
Okay, you
street,
can't
dude.
just like
Across the street from the Moxie, it's right there.
It's close. By the way, it's like airport security, man. Like where they gotta
Yeah.
it's slow, right? You're standing
Yeah.
outside, they're like literally patting everybody down. You got the dude with the machine gun. You go into the metal
Oh,
detector.
yeah.
I mean, just
Yep.
saying. It was
Yep.
cold. It was cold. I don't know what your comment here about Chicago was, right? Sade? I don't know, but
Chicago too is cold. Yes, Chicago is definitely freezing.
It was in regards to one of the many places that I want to say Scully lived in, but I could be wrong.
I went to school in Minnesota, so I spent a lot of time in Chicago.
Ah, got it.
Yeah. So it was when we're in the middle of Minnesota, and then it's either you go to Minneapolis or you go to Chicago. And Chicago was a great time. Chicago is a great time.
well, we
Yeah.
learned that at the CompTIA event not too long ago. So
Yeah.
So what's your schedule look like between now and the end of the year? Obviously, you're going to be at DataCon in a couple weeks. I think I saw you on the IoT SSA thing. And
Yeah,
you'll-
doing IOTSA. That's Lancaster. I'm going to be doing the Channel Pro, ASCII's, and then obviously IT Nation. There might be a one or two that's going to be in there and in the middle of that, which we're still working out. But just gonna be a busy guy from now until the 12th of November.
Yeah, you're an airline miles guy too, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I do. Like, I'm going to be taking a train from Connecticut to DC, because Channel Pro is literally like the week before.
Yeah.
So it's on the 7th and the 8th, and then you get out of there on the 9th, and then you have to be in DC, which is across the river because it's at Dulles on the 11th. So I'm just going to stay straight through. And then I'm going to be doing Channel Futures at the end of the week.
Channel Futures. Okay.
Yeah. Those
All
poor
right,
guys. I think they had to change their event because DattoCon announced in May that they're coming.
Get a lot of emails from those guys.
Yeah.
A lot of emails.
Had to move their event. Well, I mean, DattoCon, it's 3 years in the making, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. They were late to the party on a lot of things. Obviously getting the prospectus out, getting the dates out. And I wonder, I mean, again, I don't know how many partners they're going to have there. I'm guessing 1,200. I'm guessing.
It's
but
1,200 is still
big.
good.
It's going to be
Yeah,
big
no,
and
it's good.
interesting. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Well,
and it was
so what convinced you to finally go other than me nagging you there?
you nagging me.
Oh no, he's talking to me, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
no,
sorry.
I mean Matt was gonna go anyway. I don't think there's anything that was gonna stop Matt from being there. But go ahead, Darren. What was the answer?
I really
Why'd you-
want to see what's going on. It's important to know where things are and see what the consensus is and talk to lots of other people. And we still have a lot of data stuff, right? So, I see some concerns as we've talked about, and I want to see what they say to address them and see what everybody else.
So Big Fred is gonna be there, right?
Mhm.
If you had a chance to ask Big Fred a question from the crowd, where they like have you come up to a microphone and you ask your question, what would that question be?
What do you think matters most to people that find themselves forced in this situation? Be very, very curious to see what his answer to that was.
Well, I could tell you the first part of that he'd answer. I'm not trying to be a dick.
Well,
Oh,
we
boy.
already saw that headline. Yes,
He'll be
we
here-
already
he'll
saw
be here
that
all
one.
night.
To take this one offline at this point, I'm being recorded. We're close to the event. Let's keep it.
What, Pete? Did you have one too? Did you have a question?
No, I just said after Scully said that, he'll be here all night. But I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
this is true. This is true. He will definitely be here all night. Okay. Well, it'll be interesting because he's going to be there. And then I
Yep.
think like the next day after DataCon ends, they have a conference in Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like IT Connect IT.
Yeah, Connect IT. Yeah, Connect IT does.
Yeah. So it's Kaseya, right? I mean, it's one
Yeah.
big company now, right? So
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it was at the same. It's not the same week, right? It's
it's
following week?
literally like 1 day difference.
Is that right? I did not realize it was then. Wow.
So they're putting Fred out on the road.
Oh my gosh, they're spreading themselves thin. I did not realize that.
And then they collapse GlueX into data.
Yeah. I wonder if that was from a numbers ploy.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people they had registered. I know they went to everybody and just said, "Hey, we're moving into data. I hope to see you there." So
Listen,
Yeah.
I mean, we are competitors, but I do hope there's a lot of people that get a lot of good from DattoCon, from a networking, a mentoring standpoint, an educational standpoint, and I hope, and I'm sure they will, throw on a great show. So,
oh yeah, I'm excited. Well, I mean, Gary V, that alone is worth its weight in gold.
you love Gary V, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
He speaks my language, man.
He sits on the chair like you do.
He speaks my language. I love when he
Yeah.
comes out. I hope he comes out again and says, "Yeah, 80% of the people in this room shouldn't be in business for themselves."
Yeah, and then he's going to tell all these 45 to 55-year-olds that you're wasting your money by sending your kid to college.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That's a true story. That's a true statement.
I get it, but imagine you being a father that has to pay $150,000 in bills for their kid, and you could have sent him to Europe for 3 months, and it would have been cool.
but minus 20,000, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that number could go up. but I
Well,
digress.
I'm going to tell you this. This is mark this prediction. Mark this
Okay.
prediction.
Okay,
You heard it
I'm
here
writing it
first. Once millennials have to start paying for college, okay, for their kids, they're going to start to realize, all right, that they don't have to do a 4-year college to get what they need, right? And you're going to take some of these Elon Musk, Zuckerbergs, whoever the case, who we look at as universally smart, and they're going to make these 1 to 2 year tracks. And we're going to say, do that. You're going to be much more educated to enter the workforce than you did, as opposed to paying $150,000 in college. And we're seeing it right now. Like right now, that everyone's pissed off. Well, not everyone. Half the people are pissed off. Half the people are not, on the $10,000 reimbursement or
20,
forgiveness.
depending
Yeah,
on.
exactly. So now people are saying, well, this whole institution of college is messed up in the first place, And so once people start kind of like having that discussion, there's going to be a need for somebody that's going to come and say, well, look, you don't need to do this. You could send your kid, as a Gary Vee would say, you could send your kid backpacking to Europe for 3 months and get the same type of experience that they would in a 4-year college, right? And Elon Musk is going to say, you could take this track, this aggressive track, for another 2 years, and your kid's going to be much more rounded than they would be, if they spent 4 years in a whatever type of college,
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, if you heard what happened in the auto industry, right? They came out with the tax credit if you buy the electric car, and then all the manufacturers went up and just bumped their prices up by that same amount, right? So it ended up being basically you're paying the car manufacturers whatever the tax break is, So that was one. I think the same thing's going to happen for college. Like college, I think like the prices need to be stabilized, right? Like it can't be $100,000 to go to school for 1 year. Just my advice, but
and look what happened. Look what happened with college football. Excuse me, college sports. My apologies. I shouldn't have said that. College sports. Okay. These guys used these athletes. They used them and then they masked it by saying, well, we're giving them an education. Oh, come on.
It's only business, folks. This is just business. It's probably the most corrupt thing that exists in this country. It is horrendous.
Chris Webber went to go get gas. He went to go get gas. He put $20 worth of gas into his car. He had $17. Okay. He had to go and have an awkward conversation with somebody in Michigan at the gas station saying he doesn't have $3. Okay. The person was like a dick to him. Guess what? That person was wearing a Chris Webber jersey.
Wow. That's an interesting story. I'd love to see that conversation.
I would say, so George would get really mad. This obsession with sports has created the college monster in very large part. So people were not so obsessed with sports.
Wait a minute. Sports is just entertainment.
Yeah,
sports
it's
just
not,
entertainment.
George. It's big business. It's big business, and it's
at
the college level.
Yeah. It's a business around entertainment, right? I mean, there's a lot of different entertainment out there, right? So
it's also tradition as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Record books, and it's trying to compete from yesterdecade. So I get it. It's not a bad thing to. It's okay. It's a business when it gets into the wrong hands, but at the end of the day, it's still a competition.
Yeah, I know, Darren. Who's your favorite guy? Jerry Jones?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone? A damn thing. I don't even know what sport he plays. I have no clue. Not a clue.
Football.
There's the answer right there. Okay. All right, I got you. It's all good. All right, guys. Matt, appreciate you coming
good
on.
Stuff as always.
Good luck in the new role.
Absolutely.
Happy to see you back. Keep staying in the sandbox. Go see you out on the road a lot. Looking forward to seeing you in DC. Can't wait for this, have a party inside the baseball stadium. Have some fun with that, I think.
That is going to be fun, but that's going to be a business of Darren.
Darren will be there. Don't worry.
All right, good.
All right, guys.
We'll chat. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Be good. Thank you so much. Take care.
See ya.